Thanks to the folks who led the way. Thanks to the folks, let us thank them every day.
Interview with Stacey Abrams, Georgia State Representative for years, and she's worked for years as a voting rights champion, trying to get as many people legally involved with our elections as she can. And she's brought a lot of people on board that maybe never voted before, which is critical to turning back some of what we see going on these days. So here's a brief segment of an interview done with Stacey Abrams and the 10 Steps to Autocracy.
Run us through those steps so we all know.
Okay, so this happens in every nation that has become an autocracy, having been a democracy. So whether we're talking about Brazil with Bolsonaro, or India, or Putin and Russia, the Philippines with Duterte. So start with winning an election. Mm-hmm. Usually the last one you're going to get to have for real. Number two, you have an expansion of executive power. The president decides he wants more than he's supposed to have.
Article 2. Nobody ever mentions Article 2. It gives me all of these rights at a level that nobody has ever seen before. We don't even talk about Article 2.
Well, when the president does it, that means that it is not illegal. By definition. Exactly.
Number three, you start to make the Congress complicit. So you weaken them and you neutralize or neuter the judiciary. Like, the Supreme Court giving you unfettered power and saying we don't have the ability to stop things. Then you move on to firing all of the people who know how to make government work. Mm-hmm. So you gut the civil service. And you do that because you want to break democracy so people forget the stuff that used to get done. So you can't get your Social Security check. So the CDC doesn't know what diseases are anymore. Mm-hmm. Then you put in place these loyalists, these people who are only responsive to you. You put them in charge of the FBI so they go after your enemies. You put them in charge of the Department of Justice, the Department of Defense, so they can signal to their friends and tell them all about the evil plans that you have. Then you make certain that you break how we communicate. So you criticize the media and you create your own echo chamber of propaganda. You call it truth even though you know you're lying. Then you go to the next step, and I call that step 7. Because at step 7, you have to blame someone. You have to blame people for the broken government, for the broken promises. So you go after DEI. You go after the vulnerable, the dispossessed. You go after any community that doesn't look like what you think power should be. While you're doing that, you make certain that you, in step 8, you eliminate anybody who can help them. So you sue law firms that do pro bono cases. You go after philanthropies and accuse them of giving money to the wrong people. You go after colleges and universities that can teach people possibly what else they should know. You get to step 9 and you start to encourage and incentivize private violence. You send the US Marines into spaces they should not be. You send the National Guard in. You kidnap people off of the streets and pretend that's normal, because that's how you quiet dissent, because you make everyone afraid that if they don't do what you want, they might be next. And once you've done those 9 steps, step 10 is easy. That's when you decide there won't be new elections, because everyone's either afraid, poor, broken, or complicit.
What is it that they can do to help avoid this and make a change in this?
Thank you. So I want to give credit to Kim Sheppel, who is a professor at Princeton. She came up with the framework. I've adapted it. And I also want to give credit to the Robert F. Kennedy Foundation, not the lesser successor, but the real guy. We can fight back. We can remember that we do have power. They don't want dissent, so protest. They want us to forget that before we had power, we had each other. So when they break democracy, when they break the Social Security system, when they slash SNAP benefits and Medicaid, make sure you're checking on your neighbors. Make sure we're using mutual aid. But also tell the truth. Do not let the propaganda win. Too often they tell a lie. They will tell a lie so often it sounds like the truth. We say the truth one time, and when people don't applaud, we stop talking. We've got to keep telling the truth, not only to push back against them, but to remind us that we are entitled to the truth. We have to believe that freedom of assembly means it's more than just going to protest. It's the ability to be friends with people who aren't like you. And we have to stop believing that we are in this alone. The most effective thing they do is isolate us. They convince us that you and I don't have any common cause, and we certainly don't have common cause with someone who has a different history than we do. When we hold to our truth, when we actually believe in ourselves and our people, when we believe in democracy as something that must deliver, That's when we start to fight back, and that's when they lose, because they win when we are too numb or too afraid to act. If you go back to step 7, you go after those communities that are the most likely to push back against you.
Yes.
Black women, immigrants, the LGBTQ plus community. The fact that transgender children are being blamed for the demise of society is intentional. The fact that we forget that if you are truly a Christian, the Bible tells us to take care of the poor and the needy and the stranger, not to round them up and kidnap them.
Right.
And so as a woman of color, as a Black woman in particular, I have the affirmative responsibility to speak up on behalf of everyone else, because they're coming for me first and they're coming for me next. Our responsibility then is to use every tool at our disposal, including politics. But politics isn't just about who gets elected. It's what we do the next day. It's when we remind people of what government should be doing. What had just happened in Texas. The fact that they slashed the National Weather Service, whether or not that was the direct proximate cause of those deaths, the fact that we're having that conversation is the issue. The fact that we aren't sure is the problem. And so we need to hold to what we deserve. We should not be dissuaded. We should not be convinced that we don't have power. They are mad at us for a reason. There are enough of us that we can change the outcome of elections, but also change the outcome of power.